Tonight, I'm going to bring forth the Prime Creator energy. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my work, Prime Creator describes itself as the highest vibrations of love and light. So it's not a male, it's not a female, it's not a being, it's an energy. And but it does come through my voice as if it's a being. So some people get confused with that, but just to let you know the background of what that is, I've started channeling that energy 6 years ago now. So brought forth a lot of information, and if you like what you hear tonight or you resonate, you can go to my YouTube channel, and there's over 100 episodes of channeling Prime Creator. So there's lots of information that we've brought through over the years. Tonight, I want to ask Prime Creator about our current situation on planet Earth, what's going on, what we can do perhaps to help the situation, what we, as light workers and people who want to create heaven on earth, what we can, how we can participate, and just to get an overall perspective of what's going on. Now, everyone has their own perspective, and every perspective is honored. This is going to be like an overall perspective from an energy that can see and understand things from that higher frequency perspective and vibration. So dear ones, I will begin by saying that your situation on planet Earth is very positive, even though it may not seem this way at this time, even though it may not look like this or feel like this to you. You are in a time of great illumination, and this means that all that has been hidden and lurking in the shadows is now coming fully into the light. This comes with chaos, this comes with polarity, this comes with confusion. However, this also comes with the light. This is the great illumination. You are in the time of the shift. The shift is occurring now. There is a splitting of worlds, I will say, meaning that as you experience polarity and vastly different belief systems and understandings, there is one world that is of a lower vibration and another world emerging that is of a higher vibration. And those who are committed to working with their frequency will merge with the world that is unfolding, that is of higher frequency and vibration. This is not quite like the descriptions of the splitting of planet Earth. This is a bit different in that planet Earth physically will remain, but she and its inhabitants will be of higher frequency. This will take some time to achieve, dear ones, but you are now in the splitting process. And it can be quite painful, for example, if you have family members that are not of the same frequency, if you have friends, if you have a career that is not a frequency match for you. Those of you who are committed to maintaining and increasing your frequency, you will begin to see some things fall away from your life. And I invite you, dear ones, do not be afraid. Allow this separation. Allow things, people, circumstances to leave your life. This does not mean that they cannot come back around and join up with you again in a higher frequency, but it is important to allow this splitting right now. And I understand that you are not about separation. However, it is important that you allow yourself to release those things in your life that may be holding you back from achieving a higher frequency. When I speak of frequency, this is your vibratory rate. This is your joy. This occurs in your mental body, your emotional body, your auric field, your energy fields, your physical body. all of these things shift in frequency as you raise your vibration. For some of you, this will occur quite naturally. And for some of you, you will need to do a bit more self-reflection, self-healing, and self-work. Do not be afraid to confront the shadow within yourselves, dear ones. For when you can see clearly the shadow, you can transmute it into light. And when you can see the shadow within yourself, you can see the shadow without, meaning that you can appreciate the shadow coming into full illumination on planet Earth and all the nefarious acts that have been done against humanity. You can appreciate that this is what is occurring, and there is no need to have any fear about this. Many of you have heard that the light has won. This is true in many dimensions, and it is beginning to unfold on planet Earth. And that is why the great illumination is allowed to occur. Because the light has won, it is safe now for the dark to be exposed. Now, when I speak of the light winning, this is not to create more division or polarity, but to simply put into your way of understanding that heaven on earth is indeed being restored. But first, the shadow, the nefarious dark acts must be exposed. A common question is about the shots and if one who has received a shot will be able to move into this higher frequency. The answer is yes in some cases, but it will require more self-work from the person. Because there are technologies that come along with the shot that are intended to program and control the human, one who has received a shot must diligently work with discipline on their frequency to clean up their mental body and their emotional bodies, as well as their physical body. This channel is asking, how is this done? Dear ones, this is accomplished by eating pure foods, drinking pure water, avoiding food as much as possible that is contaminated or genetically modified, eating fresh organic foods as much as possible, and spending time in nature. It is important, dear ones, to understand that nature holds the energetic signatures and codes to restore your DNA. And because these shots affect your DNA, it is important that you go through a restoration process. Nature is the easiest and cheapest way to accomplish this. For example, when you put your hand upon a rock, your body, your molecular structure, your cellular matrix, your DNA receives the information that rock offers. The energetic signatures of purity, of groundedness. When you put your hand upon a tree, when you hug a tree, when you talk to a tree, you are receiving information and knowledge from all over the world, as each tree is connected to every other tree on planet Earth by its root systems and by its energetic connections. When you touch a plant, you are receiving the highest knowledge and wisdom about how nature works, about how self-healing occurs. When you encounter a wild animal in nature, these are messengers for you. These beings are giving you their wisdom, their purity. And so it is very important, to whatever degree that you can, to immerse yourself in nature, even if it is only to have a houseplant within your home, to have some form of naturally occurring organic life, so that you can exchange codes and receive the energetic signatures from these organic life forms. It is important that the amount of exposure that you have to organic life forms is greater than the amount of exposure you have to inorganic life forms, such as the nanotechnologies within the shot, as an example. So the overall picture of what is occurring on planet Earth is the Great Illumination. And the nuances of this can appear frightening at times. But again, dear ones, I invite you to maintain the larger picture perspective so that you can stay centered, balanced, and grounded within the new reality that you are part of creating. If you are listening to this message, you are part of the team, I will say, that is bringing forth the new earth, the new paradigm, the new reality, whatever terminology you would like to use for this. There is a new paradigm emerging. You are part of creating this, and it is very important that you hold the energies of the new, that you do your best to embody the frequencies and energies of the new. Because if you get stuck in the old paradigm, if you do not wish to release the old ways of being and doing things, then you cannot bring in the new. And so you are brave souls. You are souls who have volunteered to be part of creating the new earth, to be the architects and builders of what is to come. And it is by the agreement of the collective that determines what is created next on planet Earth. The collective energy is slowly shifting into a mass awakening. Some will not awaken in their lifetime. They may choose to come back around. But many, even though it seems as if they are asleep at this time, will have sudden awakenings. And it is very important, dear ones, that you hold the light for them to the best of your ability. And I will explain what this means. If at all possible, it is important that you teach and lead by example how to navigate the higher frequency energies. For some, it will be such a great increase in frequency that they will be very unsettled. They may be confused. They may have physical issues arise. And so it is very important that they have people they can turn to help explain to them what is going on. And this is you, dear ones, if you are willing to do this for others. Your friends and family may come to you. Some will not, but I wish for you to maintain an open heart towards them, so that if they have questions, if they are going through something challenging that is part of their awakening, that you can help guide them through it, that you can explain. Not from a place of knowing everything, but from a place of compassion and assistance, and offering them suggestions about how to navigate, such as being sure they are hydrated, eating pure food, getting into nature, staying grounded, etc. These things will be very important for those who are making high frequency jumps with their sudden awakening experience. Over the next few years, this is something that you will begin to see more and more. More people will have spontaneous or sudden awakening experiences. And they will need assistance. They will need your help, dear ones. And so I ask you, if you are willing, that you would step up and play this role for them.
Astrological aspects are pointing to a big reveal or blindside this month that may serve to awaken many. Might this involve the much talked about fake alien invasion?
Dear ones, this is quite possible, but not so likely quite yet. There is in the works an orchestration of a fake alien invasion, yes, but it is not likely to occur for several months yet. The blind side has more to do with the political arena and related to shadow government being exposed. In other words, there is forward movement in the exposure of shadow governments across this planet, not just in the US, but also shadow government that has been operating in many other countries as well across the world. The timeline for this is currently set for June, but as many of you have experienced, these types of timelines can shift quite quickly because there are many moving pieces and many people involved and many moving parts. And so, dear ones, I would not be attached to a certain time at which this happens, but it is currently moving at a speed which could be unveiled in your month of June 2021.
Are there any Earth disasters that we have to go through? And if so, which ones? With that change, with the splitting of the Earth, I guess, or the total thing coming up here now in the next few years?
I will say it in this way, dear ones. There are not Earth disasters that you have to go through, but they may occur if energetic adjustments are needed along certain ley lines. The Himalayan mountains may be affected. A small possibility that a ley line in California may be affected. There are some ley lines in Antarctica that could be affected. These are not necessarily strong timelines, dear ones. They are potentialities based on the current energy of what is occurring. But this also could shift very quickly. What you are more likely to see are many human deaths. Those who have accepted the shot and those who are of ill health and spend time around those who have accepted the shot are especially susceptible. This is not a pleasant outcome, dear ones, but it is what humanity as a collective has chosen. And while you who are listening to this may not have been one who has been part of saying yes to this, there have been enough who said yes that would create a timeline like this. This channel is asking if there is any possibility of this timeline being avoided. There is a small possibility, dear ones, if your electromagnetic frequencies are not turned on. For example, 5G, if HARP is not used to a great extent. There are technologies used by the nefarious ones that can be used at the push of a button to activate the nanotechnology within humans, to insert programs and to control their thoughts, their emotions, their actions to some degree. Which is why I mentioned earlier how important frequency is. And so if this plan is halted, then mass deaths do not need to occur. The current timeline is that it is very possible that these nefarious plans will be enacted. However, there are many efforts by your galactic friends and family to halt these plans, and it is also possible that this could be successful. So what I would ask of you, dear ones, is if you do not wish to see this timeline, that you speak to as many people as possible who will understand what you are saying and invite them to stay in a positive, energetic frequency and space with you to create a timeline where these deaths do not need to occur. What you need to understand, and we have spoken about this in other conversations, is that you as humanity have the power to create the timelines, but they must be co-created together. And so whatever is the majority of the energy of creation is what will be created. And so if enough people can bring their creation energy to a timeline of health and happiness for humanity, this is what can be created. And so it depends upon how humanity responds and what they create in this regard. Your galactic friends and family can only do so much. They are not in physical human form as you are. The physical human form is the one that has the power of creation on planet Earth. That is why you are here, dear ones. And so it is very important that you take this role seriously and that you enroll as many people as possible into a higher frequency, more benevolent timeline for all.
Can you give a general reading of the frequency of the group gathered together on this call, or even the group about the connection consciousness anyway, what was going on worldwide?
This connecting consciousness group serves to establish a grid around planet Earth, a grid of light and a grid of activation points. Activation points in many countries to activate the light codes and the DNA of the people, whether they attend these group meetings or not. Each established node point provides activation frequencies for the collective energy. And so this is a very important role that connecting consciousness is playing for planet Earth. And as more and more people join, these activations grow stronger and influence and affect the timelines in a positive way. And so, as with any group who is working together and collaborating to restore heaven on earth, there is great influence the more energy is added. And so over the years, more and more energy has been added to these grids and these activation node points across the globe. And I say thank you to those who are a part of this, for it is playing a significant role in the ascension process for planet Earth and for humanity simultaneously.
As everybody who is awakened, they wait for that sign, what they call like the first domino. Can you give us a hint what that will be? Is that maybe what's going on in Arizona with that with a election where they recount the ballots, or something else?
The first domino has already fallen, dear ones. And this may not make sense to you at first, but this is when Biden got into the presidential office, so to speak, in the United States. And the reason this is the first domino falling is because it is an essential part of illumination and the shadow being exposed. Many who are paying attention will see a false aura around this being, meaning that he is an actor in the theater that is unfolding. Therefore, when you look into his being, you do not see truth. You see an overlay It is a bit tricky to explain through this channel, but essentially, this being has a false light, and those who can discern false light from true can see that there is this falseness within him and around him. And as the illumination continues, much information will be revealed finally to the public eye about this being and many other beings in your politics, as we have discussed earlier. And so this first domino has already fallen. Because you are in third density, it is taking some time for the next dominoes to come down. But it is happening, dear ones, I assure you. And again, your role in this time of great illumination, I will say it again because this is very important, dear ones. Your role is to remain grounded, centered, connected to nature, embodying, flowing, and channeling as much light as possible. Your role is to do your self-healing, to do your inner work, so that you can be an embodiment and a channel for the light. You do not need to have special skills. You do not need to be clairvoyant. You do not need to be telepathic. You don't need any of these things, dear ones, to set your intentions to embody and flow the light. Simply be your best, do your best, and it will happen naturally as you set your intention to serve in this way. I thank you, dear ones.